This is not rocket science. Positivity plus positivity will make more positives. That's the easiest way to lay out the groundwork for your mentality to keep building and building and building that unwavering confidence, that unwavering ego, that unwavering self-love and self-understanding in yourself. Boom! What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Don Uncensored, a channel where I give out tips, tricks, and knowledge as I go through on my self-improvement journey. Today we have a really good video topic for you guys. Today I'm going to be talking about mastering your mental, mastering your mentality, mastering your thoughts, and mastering your mind. We're just going to hop right into it with the first thing that I want you guys to be doing when it comes to mastering your mental. First thing, for 15 minutes, at least 3 times a week, I want you to sit down, I want you to think, and I want you to question. Not only do I want you to question, I want you to also perceive. Now, why does this 4-step system matter so much, Don? I'm glad you asked that question. Let me explain this real quick. 15 minutes of your day seems like a long ass time, but let me tell you something. It is very quickly going to go by. So 15 minutes a day, I want you to sit down and I want you to find an area where you can have no distractions around you, and I want you to think. Why do I want you to think? And why do I want you to be in such a still environment? Think of this as meditation. For meditation to truly work, what you need is a very calm and still environment. And there's another thing about your brain that you did not know. Your brain is an emotional reaction center. What your brain will do is it will perceive things around you. And based off the way that it perceives objects, perceives information that comes in, sounds, noise, smell, taste, touch, all of that. Even energy, feeling energy through yourself is another way of sensing a presence or even one of your other senses. When your brain has to intake all of these every single day, every single nanosecond, it has to understand this information. Guess what? It's making reactions based off of how does it perceive. It's perceiving and it's attaching emotions to every single reaction and action that makes from it. So I want you to be in an area where you can think, right? Allow your brain to keep rattling off thoughts. Keep going off of your thoughts and allow it to just go through. But as you keep having these thoughts, have maybe 1 to 2 minute questioning sessions where you ask yourself, okay, why did I have this thought? What was the reason for this thought? How did this thought come to be? What came of this thought? And then I want you to take the time and perceive the emotion behind it. Perceive the emotion behind it. Because once you are able to start perceiving the emotions behind your thoughts, you are now able to understand your thought pattern. You are now able to understand discrepancies in your thought. Okay, that was a more positive thought. Okay, that was a more negative thought. And now, again, you can repeat the system. If you have the ability to perceive and question every single time you think, you will then be able to then ask yourself that question again. Right? Why did I have such a negative thought after I perceived it? Right? I thought it, I perceived it, and then I questioned it. But then you can also do the exact same opposite. I can think about something, question why I thought about it, and then perceive that thought. But then also, I can perceive the thought, question the thought, and then think another thought, and repeat the cycle. No matter what you're doing, you're going to be stuck in this loop. So if you have the ability to actually hack this loop that a lot of people live on autopilot on, once you can hack this loop, guess what's going to happen? You are actually going to be able to expand yourself and understand your thoughts better. Understanding. You have a much better palatable palate. You have a much better ability to metabolize your thoughts and think about them, perceive, and actually understand what's going on. The second thing I want you to start practicing is emotional control. Listen, this is going to have to happen if you want to master your mental. You cannot master your mental if your emotions are constantly driving you to make decisions. Listen, a lot of times we make a lot of emotion-based decisions. That is what we are as beings. That is what we do. But guess what? You can put a rein and you can put a stop to over emotional thinking. What I want you to do is start practicing emotional control when it comes to your thoughts, when it comes to your actions. Because once you have the ability to start understanding your emotions, right? After thinking about them and understanding your thoughts, you now have the ability to start controlling the emotion that is tied to these thoughts. Once you have the ability to control these emotions tied to your thoughts, guess what's going to happen? Your life is going to start improving because you're now going to start seeing better results because you are now able to understand what the emotion behind the thought is. And instead of letting it be, you have the ability to make it either better or worse, depending on how you want to do it. If you have the ability to emotionally control your thoughts, you are now more in control of who you are as a being, but you are also able to understand and be in better control of your brain. You will not feel like a passenger in your own body. You will feel like you are actually making decisions for yourself because you have now actually controlled your emotions. Your emotions won't allow you to make decisions like this on the fly. You can actually sit down and control those emotions and let them out when needed. If you want to be good, if you want to master your mentality, you're going to have to understand that emotions drive a lot of things. But if you have the ability to understand and control these emotions, you now have the ability to understand and control your brain, which then will bring me back to then this topic. The next thing I want you to start doing is I want you to make more positive self-talk. You are going to have yourself for the next 80 years of your life. Do you want to live a life where you are consistently miserable living with yourself? Or do you want a life where you are constantly bringing yourself up and actually bettering yourself and thinking of yourself in a more positive light? Ask yourself that question. How are you going to want to do so? Because think about it like this. We all have that one person in our life that we cannot absolutely stand even if our life depended on it. If somebody held a gun to the back of your head, you might as well have said, shoot me, I'm going to be dead. Right? Do not be that person to yourself because you have you for the rest of your life. You cannot get rid of that unless you yourself. And don't do that because you still have a lot to live for, right? So with that being said, if you want to start living life and bringing your life in a more positive direction, you need to start having more positive self-talk. And guess what's going to have to happen for self-talk to be more positive? You're going to have emotional control. And not only are you going to have emotional control, you're going to have to understand and perceive the thoughts and understand and perceive the emotions behind them and control the emotions behind your thoughts. When you have the ability to do both of these, you then have the ability to increase your positive self-talk. Because then from there, you will be able to start going from, having negative emotions to now understanding, perceiving them in microseconds and flipping the script. Once you flip that script, that's your emotional control coming in and regulating yourself. That increases your positive self-talk. And guess what? Thoughts bring reality towards you. Law of attraction. Thoughts bring things towards you. Actual action perceived with thoughts is the law of action being put into play. If you combine the law of action and the law of attraction, and guess what? They're the same thing because with attraction, you need action, right? So with that being said, if you want your positive reality to come towards you, you need to be doing something to bring it towards you, whether it's eating healthier, doing goals, whatever else it might be. A lot of times we make it only physical and we don't make it mental. Why would you not want to bring a more positive mentality when your thoughts are what creates the reality in front of you? That's literally working backwards. That does not make sense. So if you want to have a more better positive reality, you need to have better self-talk. And guess what's going to happen once you have better self-talk? The sky is the fucking limit. You want to know why? Because of the fact that you now believe in yourself. You are now no longer calling yourself a dumbass, a failure, a reject, a stupid ass, you're ugly as shit. You're not going to start saying these things to yourself. You're not going to be like, I'm a conqueror. I'm the best person to ever do this. I'm the reason why I'm here. The reason why everything comes towards me is because I conquer everything. I'm amazing at what I do. I'm in the greatest shape of my life. I'm the best person ever to be walking in this version of myself. This positive self-talk is going to bring up and boost the rapport that you have with yourself. It's going to build a very stable foundation for you to start laying the groundwork of increasing your mastery over yourself. So you need to start having more positive self-talk to bring a more positive reality towards you. Because let's be honest, nobody wants to live in a negative reality, right? Nobody ever wants to live in that. What we really want is we really want a reality that is positive. Whatever positivity looks like towards you. But guess what? Your thoughts shape your reality. So if there's no good thoughts, it's only negative reality. But guess what? This reality, this self-talk that's going to bring this towards you needs to have emotional control behind it. Because remember, your brain is an emotional reaction machine. It's going to perceive and understand things, attach emotions to them, and go off of that. Again, if you have the ability to better perceive and understand your emotions, you now have the ability to put your emotions in check. You now have your emotions under control. You can now start detaching other, emotions from your thoughts and attaching the emotions you truly want with your thoughts to that thought. Does that make sense? And positive self-talk is going to increase everything by about tenfold. Because once you have good positive self-talk, every single thought you're going to have is going to be good. And guess what? Now emotional control is going to kick in. Every time you have that one outlying negative thought, exit out. That bitch is dead. It's going to die because your brain is going to go, hold on. I'm not that person anymore. I'm no longer a bitch. I'm no longer a person who does not understand failure. I'm no longer this negative version of myself that I kept telling myself. I'm more positive. I'm better at what I do. I'm better at my emotional control of myself. You're going to flip that script just because of the fact that you got your emotions under control by, again, perceiving them and understanding them a lot better. This is now where your mentality is going to increase tenfold in its rigidity and its toughness. I want you to start keeping the promises that you make towards yourself. And this is going to be a really strong device and workout for you. Reason why this is, as human beings, we have a very hard time in keeping our reality and actually keeping the promises that we want to ourselves. Just because of the fact we're human, we're going to mess up, right? Not only are you going to do that, but you are going to then keep doing this over and over and over. You're actually working against yourself because now if you can't keep your promises, you're not going to go from a positive self-talk to a negative self-talk, which is then going to then make your emotional control negative, which is going to then make you perceive and understand and question your emotions in a negative light. Do you see how everything comes down to understanding and emotional control when it comes to your brain? It is the most important thing. This second step will allow you to either build or break your life. It build or break your mentality. What I want you to do is I want you to combine emotional control with keeping promises with yourself. Because then once you keep promises with yourself, self-talk now increases. Self-talk will bring more positive reality, which will then bring more positive emotional control, which will then bring more positive perception, questioning, thinking, and thoughts towards your life. This is not rocket science. Positivity plus positivity will make more positives. You need to stop thinking in negatives, and you need to stop doing things that are negatively diminishing yourself, calling yourself dumb things, not keeping promises to yourself, not having good emotional control. You need to flip the script, have good emotional control, pull the emotions on yourself under your reins, become the master of your own emotions, become the master of your own self-talk, because then that will bring that reality that you want towards you. Become a master at keeping promises towards yourself. Keeping promises is you making sure that you are good on your word, because guess what? Your word is very powerful once it's combined with action and thoughts. Those three key elements makes up so much of energy and actual actionable change in your life. Guess what? If you keep these promises, everything around you gets better. Because of that, you have a better mastering of your mental. Your mental will become unbreakable. It will become a shield. Listen, all I want for you guys to do is follow this simple 4-step routine. Have that 15-minute, exercise every single week, 3 times a week, where you think, question, and perceive your thoughts. After you do that, every single time you have a thought, perceive it and question it and think about it. That will allow you to build more emotional control and understand the emotions better. Once you have good emotional control, your self-talk will start building itself up. You're now going to start seeing positive changes in your reality, because not only are your actions going to start, following your self-talk, you're now going to start seeing that all of the thoughts bring that reality towards you. You start seeing that positivity in your life. And once you start keeping your promises, oh baby, that's the easiest way to lay out the groundwork for your mentality to keep building and building and building that unwavering confidence, that unwavering ego, that unwavering self-love and self-understanding in yourself. That is the easiest way to build your foundation and master your mentality. Keeping your promises, having good self-talk, having good emotional control, sitting down for 15 minutes every single time, 3 times a week, thinking, questioning, perceiving, will allow you to build your mentality and become better at mastering your mental. Listen, this is all I want you guys to do. Go out, conquer your understanding, conquer your thoughts, conquer your mentalities, conquer your promises. Be a conqueror.